Hi, Bruce. Thanks for joining us. Why did you want to expose the Post?
Well, the reason was that I don't know that it's an accurate representation of the membership of the RCMP and the Veterans Association membership. I'm not sure about that, but I think people should at least get an answer from the Veterans Association as to why they have this reoccurring theme of alternate history.
So what was it about it that was so offensive to you as a non-Indigenous Canadian and a former officer?
Well, when I first read the editorial, I thought it was going to be about not burning churches, not vandalizing and such, which would be probably a valid opinion that most people could stomach. But inside, there were some hidden parts that leapt out at me, such as an absolute gross misrepresentation of what the residential schools were meant to do, the objectives, the initial objectives. And it was minimized to being institutions of education as opposed to the oppression that came out in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and such. And secondly, I was extremely offended by the fact that there were phrases such as "get on with life" and "stop dwelling on it," in reference that they mentioned all parties, which included our First Nations. And that not just disappointed me, it confused me. And that was at the point that I started feeling ashamed to be a member of this association.
So what were your fellow officers saying about this?
I haven't spoken in person to many people, but I can tell you that there was a comments page on the website for the Veterans Association, and the initial comments were extremely pathetic, very much in favor of the point of view. And although everybody's entitled to their point of view, it appeared to be an uneducated point of view. It seemed to be very one-sided. And backing what the author had said. Now, having said that, I don't know if it's coincidence, but after APTN's initial report on this, the views changed. And I don't know whether they were officers or members of the public, but then they became very critical of the Veterans Association and what the article was. So I saw a shift, and I saw that as a positive.
And they've since taken the Post down. Why do you think they took it down?
I have no idea, but I think that's the issue here, is that we need to hear from this association that represents and is speaking for hundreds and hundreds of retired RCMP members, and in fact CSIS members, because that's where the article came from, was from their equivalent of their Veterans Association. And I think that we need to hear from them and the RCMP and even the RCMP union to find out now what people think of this, or why they took it down, or why they even felt it necessary to have an agenda to present on this issue.
And Bruce, why do you think these attitudes still persist in the ranks?
Well, to be fair, this is the Veterans Association, but I don't want to miss the point of what you're making here, the question. The members of the RCMP Veterans Association don't necessarily belong to a group that are 100 years old. I retired 4 years ago. There are members that would have been supervisors, direct supervisors and mentors to people still in the field. And if they hold this point of view, despite the fact that many people within the organization are upset about allegations of systemic racism, if newly retired members that have this voice, this ability to speak to the serving members, if they have this point of view, I think it speaks loudly to the fact that there still is systemic racism within the RCMP. And I think that this should be dealt with quickly.
All right, Bruce, that's all the time we have for you. I want to thank you again for taking a few minutes to speak with us.
You're very welcome.